What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome in to another edition of MVP Sports Live. There it is, Dave. Before the show, I was like, I need to burp. It's not there. And then I started talking, and the burp was there. Thank you for joining us. I'm joined as I always am with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, how's your MLK day going? How's your holiday going? As I know, no work day for Dave.
Yeah, I'm just chilling mostly. Day of inactivity, day of nothing for me. So
Today's a great day. You got basketball on, started from 11 o'clock. College basketball's on. Hockey started a little early. This is a day. It's kind of like a weekend in a sense. You get those day games, and we've got them all through the day. But we got some sports news to talk about, Dave. Basketball, football, even a little baseball at the end, which we know what to do for baseball. We're calling in the lefty for that one. But a jam-packed show. It's like, get me the fuck away from baseball. Jam-packed show. Before we get into everything, though, make sure to check out the Discord. Discord's the greatest community, the MVP Discord, that is. Greatest community on the internet. Link down below. Or !Discord gets you the link to join that great community. You can talk to us and all the fans from MVP about the sports we watch each and every day. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is one way you could do that and get rewarded for it. You can also sub to us on Twitch. Prime Gaming, they give you it every month from Amazon. Why not send it to us and get rewarded? Be the same rewards as a bronze patron and get in on those watch-alongs to talk into mics while we watch games. We're always on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids, and we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. So go ahead and make sure you're tuned in to everything we've got. Dave, the first thing we're talking about, though, is from the great sport of basketball. Sport of basketball. Not so great news.
So great. I knew that was coming,
Kevin Porter Jr. We know the backstory of... So you put an article in the Discord today because some people were asking about the assault that he had on a woman. We also have the charges where he was found in possession of a firearm. That was that.
Weed.
And weed. I thought it was both.
Not really that illegal, but state by state charges, you know. Yeah. NBA doesn't give a shit about that, though.
Yeah. But The Athletic today has said that according to The Athletic, Porter began yelling at one point threw food at a team official before getting combative. Oh, this was with General Manager Colby Altman. And because of this little altercation, the Cavs are now looking to trade him. They're saying, he's open for trading, and if we're not going to trade him, he will be cut. He will no longer be a Cleveland Cavalier. And Dave, before we get into which team should maybe trade for KPJ, I got to ask the question of, should a team trade for KPJ? Not necessarily on the part of, oh my God, he did these bad things, why would I want him on this team? I'm sure there's some people that think of that, but also from the standpoint of like, why should I trade and give anything to you if you're just going to cut him anyways?
Yeah, that's entirely the point. There's no one who should trade for him. Mm-hmm. There's no one. Why would they bother giving up assets when they've already said they will cut this person if they can't get a trade? Well, it seems to me like we could just sit back and fucking wait then, Chief. Like, I mean, I'll give you a second-round pick, 58 spots protected. Mm-hmm. If we win the fucking championship, it's all yours, you know? But outside of that, I'm not super he has no value. None. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't actually matter. He will be cut.
Because, like, that's the thing. First off, a little bit of a rant of I don't get why teams do this, of the, we want to trade him, but if we can't trade him, we'll cut him. It's like, why are you playing?
It's a PR statement.
I get the PR side, but it's like, why are you playing your hand? Or if any other GM is like, okay, I don't have to give up anything for him. I get the PR side, but then my first question that I had in my head that I was like, is you kind of hit on is, what is his actual value? Like, if a team was going to trade for him, what, am I giving up maybe a second-round pick for him? Like, is a team even going to... I mean, second-round pick, some teams kind of see it as useless because it's like, I don't even have the roster spots for this guy anyways. Is there, like... Yeah, it's just, is he even worth a second-round pick, which I feel like is the lowest value that you can get for someone in this league.
Protected second-round pick, 58 spots protected, I'm telling you. Or 59 spots protected, even.
Dave's like, I already did it.
I laid it out for you. Basically, he's worth nothing. Mm-hmm. He has no value amongst the league. again, this is nothing new. This is a kid with a fucking attitude. He's had it since college. It's been very clear. There's nothing, he's incredibly talented. Doesn't mean he's worth it, And that's the problem. The Cleveland Cavaliers took a shot on him. He disappointed them. He disappointed the organization, his teammates, and he's still a fucking kid. And I think that's the biggest problem.
Is there a spot in this league for Kevin Porter Jr.? Like on the other side of, let's say he's cut. Should a team go ahead and sign him? Or is this a situation of, you know what? I don't want him anywhere near my team. I don't want a cancer like that anywhere near my team. And he kind of ends up in the, like, do we see him end up like on a G League for a team where it's like, hey, we'll sign you to a 2-way contract and you're spending most of your time in the G League unless we actually want to call you up.
Wrong fucking year for that, isn't it?
Yeah,
considering the G League had its draft about a week ago, and they will be in a bubble. So he is not eligible for that shit either.
Yeah, there's no way he can quarantine before the bubble?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think it's like a static group of people who are going in. Okay. I mean,
because they start, I think they start second week of February. Is where the G League starts.
They're going to be in the bubble for, I think, 10 days prior. So basically from Feb 1, they're going down.
Yep.
It seems unlikely that he would be a G Leaguer. I think he'll clear waivers. Like I said in Discord, I think that teams want to interview him. They want to talk to him. They're not just going to blindly pick up a kid who has that much of a personality issue. So it'll take some time, but he will land with a team. Again, he's talented. And we've seen talented, terrible people continue to get shot after shot in whatever professional league they play in. So, yeah, he's good enough to warrant a second look from a second team. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking through the teams, and I almost go, I feel like if it's a playoff team, we could take all those teams off the table. So Boston, Brooklyn, Philly, maybe like Toronto, Indiana, Milwaukee, all those teams are going.
Playoff team. That's hilarious. They're 4-8.
I mean, 4-8, but yet again, they start picking it up. They could be a playoff team. Like we've talked about how close this year is going to be. Like there's no team that I see like. The Wizards are not that great this year. I don't see them picking them up. Do the Thunder take a stab at them? Like, hey, here's a 1-year deal. Like, we're just throwing shit at the wall anyways to see what works. And if you pan out, then we work out a long year like deal with you. Because that's another thing of the situation. I know he's had the off the court issues. People will always say that people will change. Although I've always been someone that's always been on the opposite of that kind of, to where it's like, people can change, but there are some things that are so deep rooted in people that it's almost impossible to change some of the ways they think.
It is immaturity. Like
is he ever going to mature then? That's
I think people do eventually mature. I think that's a matter of time and a matter of the people you put yourself around.
Yeah, good point.
I'll tell you who should do it. It's the Orlando Magic. They're a team that can't fucking win a game without Markelle Fultz out there. They're 0-6 without Markelle Fultz now. Cole Anthony is exactly who I told you he was. So Kevin Porter Jr. is someone who showed flashes of greatness when he did get playing time last season. He was talked about as literally the second best prospect on the team after Colin Sexton. So I think that people know he has pop. He has like huge upside to him. It's just, can you keep him in check? In a team like Orlando who needs to get assets on that team, like I would offer him like a 2-year, $1.9 million deal. Like not giving you, just like $1 million a year kind of a deal.
Yeah.
And like, hey, we'll see what happens with obviously an early out in there after the season ends because you don't want to be on the hook for that. But at the same time, if he plays well, you want to get that second year on the cheap because it gives you options.
So basically like a 1+1.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like a half year +1 now. But yeah.
Because like I'm looking at it, like Orlando would make sense because I feel like the thing I'm thinking about is I feel like either the coach or there needs to be a leader on this team to help with the maturity aspect of it. Because the Cavaliers right now, I would say, I mean, the coach is better than when they had Boeheim out there. But yet again, like on that team, Kevin Love's kind of checked out. DeAndre Drummond's not going to be there after this year. Like I look at that team and I go, Colin Sexton and Garland, Sexland, are so close to him in age that it's almost impossible to kind of be like the look up factor is what I'm trying to say.
No, there's no respect.
Yeah, no respect. Where like Vusi could be a leader for the Magic. Plus the Magic, we haven't heard anything about their chemistry issues with that entire team. The Thunder, now that I think about it, like they may be good because the whole team is good together, but they don't really have a veteran in my mind that sticks out of like, oh, that's a leader.
George Hill, Al Horford?
Oh, good point. Your point.
We got 2 fantastic
You're
veteran.
Right. I totally forgot about. To me, the reason why I didn't think of George Hill is because I think he'll be traded. But you're right. Al Horford on that team. So I stand corrected there. Or like, yet again, I'm going to throw this out there. People might think, like, I like Chainsaw saying the Pistons. I almost thought of them because they have both Dwayne Casey and a guy like maybe Blake on that team. Even like a Jeremy Grant. Some veterans there. The Knicks, question mark? Or would he clash too much with a Tom Thibodeau?
I kind of made a joke about this earlier. It was like, if there's one head coach who would keep somebody in line, it's Tom Thibodeau. It's his way or the fucking highway. Like, he doesn't put up with shit he doesn't like. He wants effort. He wants all in on basketball. If you don't give him that, you will find yourself riding the pine pony. Yeah. And at that point, you're dead to him. I don't know if that will hurt or help Kevin Porter Jr. I haven't heard work ethic issues with him per se, but the off the court has been consistent. So
yeah. Or like what I saw, it was thrown out in Discord. I think it was Milfence said he saw it on Twitter. The Lakers, and the only reason why I would even throw them out is yes, I said throw most playoff teams out, but when you've got a guy on your team like LeBron James, you also have AD there. You also have a good coach in Frank Vogel.
Marc
Gasol is there. Like that could be a team where he can maybe like basically be a good support for him because that's what I think KPJ needs is a good support to then get mature, and then all the basketball stuff can be worried about after that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's just a definite matter of just it's a personality issue. It's an immaturity issue. You put the right people around him, and you, I don't want to say bubble wrap him pretty much, but bubble wrap him. Kind of like I brought the Des Bryant situation for those who don't remember when Des Bryant was drafted in the league. There's a big controversy about it because Des was known to have off the field fun. And basically Jerry Jones went, well, I'm going to get 4 guys, and they are going to follow you around everywhere you go. And you will have no freedom, and you will have nothing done outside of my vision. Basically just kept everything accounted for. And you know what? Des Bryant did not create a single fucking problem off the field. Yeah. So I think those early years for him in Dallas, he had the right support structure, right guys on the field, right guys off the field to ensure that he was not in trouble. I'm going to guess KPJ needs something like that. Yeah. So I like the idea of the mentor like you're looking for. I think the Lakers could be an interesting situation there. But yeah, I mean, it's just talent. He will get another chance at some point. It's just a matter of will it be this year or will this be a year where it's like, dude, you are just toxic and we can't touch you.
Yeah, and Mad Rogue brings up a good point. Like the Raptors, I threw them out. They have good leadership as well.
Guards. Like 5 shooting guards on our team.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like team fit also needs to work as well. But like from a leadership standpoint, if they want to take a stab on him,
like I said, just not the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like literally any team but Minnesota Timberwolves, and he has a chance to succeed in this league again.
Yeah, good point. Minnesota might be the worst team in the NBA team, like actual team wise, not just record in the league. Dave, before we get into the football, we're gonna break the football and put them all together. So because of that, we're going to do Wet Boys a little early, Dave. The dampest of dudes, the soggiest of shooters, moistest of men, and sometimes the mistiest of misses. If you're new to Wet Boys, this is our players of the day from the day prior, or in this case, the weekend prior. Dave gives a Wet Boy, I give a Wet Boy, and then the patrons, silver level and above, patreon.com/MVPvids, get to vote each and every day for their own Wet Boy as well. Dave, I'm going to let it be. Let me load yours really quick because I forgot to preload them. La-di-da-di-da. Dave, who is your Wet Boy for January 18th, 2021?
I'm going with somebody who deserves a little bit of love. Very quiet player coming into the draft. Emmanuel Quickley, someone who has thrived in his last 3 games, 2 of them going towards this Wet Boy over the weekend. Just really great performances. Good assist to turnover ratio, really good shooter, Just very well done as far as like all his aspects of the game. We just well-rounded player. And again, we talked about these guards coming out. It's they've had literally like 2 misses at the guard position over the last 7 years. So credit to that college, Kentucky, right? I'm not
Kentucky. Yeah. SEC Player of the Year. You're right.
Credit to Kentucky for just being the college churning point for guards. Quickly just looks great out there. So credit to him. Shout out to the Knicks for their. I believe I saw they're a top 10 defense by all metrics. So
Tibbs will do that for. Tibbs will do that for you, though.
Definitely.
Speaking of Kentucky, Dave, do you want to know a fun fact today?
Yeah.
So today the big news was that Duke is no longer in the top 25 after this weekend. Well, no, not just that. It's the last time that Duke, Kentucky, and North Carolina were all unranked in an AP poll. Do you want to take a stab at what year that was?
2004.
December 18th, 1961.
What?
Yeah, that's the last time all 3 of them have been unranked at the same time.
Jesus.
It's been fucking 50 years since that has happened. I thought that was ironic.
Wait, what year was it?
1961.
That would be
50.
60 years, Ricky.
60. Yeah, you're right. No.
60.
Oh, you're right. I missed it.
Yeah.
60 years. That's even worse. That's even worse. 60 years. Live math on the show. It's hard, people. But my wet boy, Dave, I'm going to go football. I want it. So my thought process is I had 2 college wet boys lined up. I wanted to, the kid from, I'm blanking on his name off the top of my head, the kid from Minnesota, their big man, had a great day against Michigan. And I think it was Sunday after getting the shit kicked out of him the day before. It was basically like I'm going to come back and I'm going to fucking get my revenge on you. Michigan lost for the first time. Then there was also Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. I also wanted to give some respect to him, but I had to settle on Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not only is Tom Brady going back to the NFC Championship game, the first NFC Championship game he will ever be in. Devin White had himself a fucking game last night. 11 total tackles, had an IT that sealed the win, basically. Had a big fumble recovery that killed the drive for the Saints. Kid's looking good. Like, we're talking about the quarterbacks from 2018. This is a kid from that draft class. I think top 10 pick is the Bucs were the 10th pick that year, showing out in a big game, and now gets to prove it in an NFC title game next week. And then Dave, the patrons, they go with
shout out boy. Before the patrons.
Go ahead.
Max Holloway. I mean, it's a shout out because that's all he did during his match. He shouted back at the announcers in that fucking octagon. So shout out to Max Holloway for what was a very entertaining card on Saturday.
Here's a question on that before we get to the patrons, because you just made me think of something. We've never had a UFC wet boy.
I'm shocked by that because I thought for sure that you would have given one to Connor.
That's what it is. Does Connor get one next Monday? Does he knock out Poirier in the first round in like 20 seconds and he's a wet boy?
There is a chance.
Can't fucking wait for that fight. But Dave, the patron's going with a guy that you love. You loved him when we were talking about him in the draft class. He's been a guy that you love in Sacramento.
Yep.
De'Aaron Fox, man. De'Aaron Fox balled out, had 2 games. Really, yesterday's game was the one that I think got him the wet boy, where he had 45 points and 13 assists in a loss to the Pelicans.
Definitely. I mean, it was that was an incredibly close game. And it felt like everything was clicking. He even made Marvin Bagley not look like a pile of shit.
Dude, Marvin Bagley hit a 3. I was like, holy shit, he can shoot.
Fucking bravo to you, De'Aaron Fox, for finding worth out of Marvin Bagley. So, I mean, that right there is worth a wet boy.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that game because I needed Buddy Hield to hit 3 or more threes. He did not do that, obviously.
Buddy Hield not had a good year.
Yeah, so that was one where it was like hit or miss, and I knew that was the tricky one coming in. But it would have paid out well if it hit. But yeah, De'Aaron Fox, while watching, I'm like, shit, man, he is having himself a game. Even though the Kings could not get the win, they are a sneaky team in the NBA this year, to where I feel like if you get yourself a better head coach, that team definitely is instantly a lot better than they are.
Your head coach and you go to your assistant coach who you hired to be your new head coach.
Yeah, that works too. Better coach, Dave. That's all you need. Luke Walton holding that team down. But Dave, the big football news this weekend, number one, the Chargers. They made news. So we had two kind of coaching
I'm sorry.
hires.
Like, can we just retract that statement? They're not the big news of the weekend. The big news is the games actually happened.
Yeah,
Ricky.
the game that actually happened. Like, the games that happened, we will get to the recap. But, like, off the football news, we had two hirings, and I use hirings in air quotes because we had one official hiring and one, hey, now this team's eliminated. This guy is probably going to be the head coach of one team. The first one was the Chargers. They hired Brandon Staley, who was the defensive coordinator for the LA Rams. And Dave, immediately after this, I had thoughts. I went to Twitter with them. I still believe those thoughts.
Yeah.
But after listening to Lombardi on Hamadan today, he kind of put in a little perspective of why they did this. I still think it's asinine. But for me, the whole thing is, I immediately was like, this is the stupidest move in the world. Why is it that anybody who even, like, it's a joke we were using 2 years ago when Lane Kiffin got hired. It's, if you have lunch with Sean McVay, you're up for a head coaching job. That's just it. You're probably going to get a head coaching job. Did you order the chicken over the fish? Did you get the steak? Like, what was going on in that lunch? We need to know what was going on. Like, you just know Sean McVay, and boom, you get a head coaching job. Yeah. Second off, I thought that Brian Daboll was the perfect coach. Like, this was one where even Dan Orlovsky on ESPN was like, they're just waiting for the Bills to be done in the playoffs. Like, this is his job. And it should be his job because you have Justin Herbert, the best young quarterback in this league.
Yeah. Take him over Trevor Lawrence any day.
Would have been fucking awesome. Like, seeing what's going on with Josh Allen and picture Herbert in that, you're up for success. Apparently, Dave, and this was from Lombardi on Hamadan, he said the reason the Chargers went with Staley over a Brian Daboll is they did not, one of the things they kept saying in coaching interviews is the Chargers did not want to get rid of the offensive coaching staff. They want to keep that entire staff intact because they don't want Justin Herbert to be a quarterback that has four different offensive coordinators in 5 years, kind of a situation. I see what that goes with, but it's like, or you just hire Brian Daboll, he fucking hits with Herbert, sets up a staff that works for him, and that's like, oh great, he had two different fucking coaches in X amount of years. Like, I don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it, kind of a situation.
I mean, especially if, you get the right coach.
Yeah.
That's all it matters. It doesn't matter how many coaches it takes you to get to one, as long as you get to the right coach. The problem with those guys who go through, 4 coordinators in 4 years, I think Kaepernick was or Alex Smith was one of those guys into Kaepernick, which was one of the big complaints about that situation.
Yeah.
Is if you have no sustained success, obviously it looks bad. But if you just get the right fucking coach, you don't have to keep replacing people. It stops. Like, that's the thing about it. So I think it's incredibly cowardly of them to make a statement like that about, oh, well, we just want to, get rid of everybody on the staff and clean house. No. You got to do what it takes to get the right head coach in there, to establish new standards, to get the new guys in. And who knows? He's not a guarantee that he's firing everyone on your staff. Yes, he's sure got friends who he'd like to employ, and he thinks that are brilliant minds. But I'm sure it's not 100% thing. It's not like Daboll's gone out there and said, like, yeah, can't wait to head coach and bring in all my own guys with me. Like, I know it's usually a stipulation of, like, sometimes they do inherit some staff. Sometimes they clean house. There are no guarantees to anything that happens in the NFL these days. So if you were like, I'd like to protect this guy, like our QB coach and our offensive assistant or something like that, like, sure. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of this. I think I'm on the side with you. I would have loved for them to go get Daboll. I think that this is, I'm not going to say a lateral move. It is an improvement, but it's not a dramatic improvement as far as I'm concerned. And again, we will see what happens with the rest of the staff as it's filled in. Because this team wasn't a terrible team last year. They were a team that was poorly coached. Yeah. So we'll see what adjustments, if he brings around a locker room, swing of momentum kind of thing where he's all in, they're all in, everybody's better player because of it. Sure. But I don't know. I'm not thrilled with this hiring.
Well, and it's like, I feel like this is a huge counteraction to what they had, because with Anthony Lynn, I know that Anthony Lynn play calling one of the worst clock managers that we've ever seen at head coach.
Early and often, yeah.
I have a feeling now. It's like, to me, I almost look at it and I go, all right, who's calling plays now? Because that was Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn was the guy where it's like, that's why he was managing the clock so badly. And why we had these questions about it. Now you get a defensive coach in there. I'm going to assume he is not calling the plays for the offense. And now that's going to be on OC. Got the name here. Shane Steichen. I hope I'm saying that right. But it's just one of those things where I feel like Dabble, yet again, was the perfect coach, to where you see what he's doing with Josh Allen. You see what Air Bear was able to do last season. You're right. Just because you bring in a new offensive coach, system may change. And that was another thing Lombardi said, of not just coaches, but they didn't want the language to change. It's like, I'm sorry. Do you think Air Bear is so dense that he can't fucking learn? Like, I get that learning a new offense is tough, but it's not like coming into the draft we were talking about, man, Justin Air Bear, he's so dense, he can't fucking change anything because he's a dense quarterback, basically saying he's too stupid up here. No one was saying that.
No, it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous, Ricky. Mm-hmm. I wonder if this was just like a panic move because they feel the clock was running and they're like, if this guy gets to interview somewhere else, he could sign somewhere else. And that leaves us with a Hail Mary of Dabble or nobody. Mm-hmm. Because Bieniemy has seemingly disappeared. I mean, is he just staying home? Is that what the situation is? Like, so I haven't heard any buzz around him.
The thing that, because yet again, Lombardi was asked about it on Hamadan. He said, and this is something interesting that I've heard nobody say. Everyone has jumped on and it's ironic that we bring this up today on the MLK edition of the show, but everyone's jumping to the, he must not be getting the job because he's black kind of a situation. And Lombardi says yet again, they didn't touch that, but he had said something that I've never even heard with a coaching candidate he's like, there must be something going on in the interview that is deterring him from jobs. Like, he must be giving a certain answer that teams don't like, because he said when you go into a coaching interview, they want to know a lot of things. Like, they might bring up what happened in the Browns-Chiefs game this last weekend. They may say, all right, 7 minutes left. We're on the 30-yard line. We're down by 8 points. We're going up against the Chiefs. What do you do? Map out this drive for us. What is your play calling for this drive? And if they don't like the answer that you're giving, they're not going to hire you, kind of a situation. So, that's why Lombardi was like, I wonder if there's something being said in the interview that isn't a wrong answer, but it just isn't clicking with a GM or an ownership. So, that's, to me, I'm like, is it something to where they don't think he's going to be a, not leader of men, but hey, you're good at running an offense, but can you lead a football team? Kind of a situation where I feel like everybody that's in the McVay coaching tree, they just assume, you can lead a football team because Sean McVay can lead a football team. We talk about how he is with the character and how he structures that team more than him actually calling plays for that defense. And it's just, with me, I think the Chargers, you're right, this could have been a reactionary move, but when I know that hiring a head coach isn't easy, but if there's a guy out there that works, you do whatever you can to go get him. And I think that Dabble should have been the Hail Mary move for the Chargers, because I said it in my tweet, I'll say it now, we'll be looking maybe 3 years down the line at this and going, remember when they hired fucking that dumbass Staley? Not dumbass because of him, dumbass because he ain't going to pan out. And that's what I don't want to see. I think that what the Chargers are trying to avoid by, hey, we're going to mix up coaches every few years, that is now going to end up happening, because I think Dabble was the right coach. I don't think Staley is the right coach. I think the Chargers are going to stay static and kind of waste some years of Justin Air Bear's life. But one thing before I move on, I do want to bring this up.
Sure.
I would have loved them to do, they're doing the whole, defensive coach, let's keep our offensive staff. Look at what the Jaguars are doing. Did you hear who the Jaguars want to bring in as their DC, Dave?
Oh.
Raheem Moore from the Falcons. Guy that only turned things that. To me, I saw that and I was like, that is fucking perfect. Get Urban Meyer in there, who wants to be a culture guy. Raheem Morris ran that defense very well in Atlanta this year. And, yet again, a motivator on the defensive side. Like, yet again, there's some teams I like what they're doing. There's some teams like the Chargers I can't stand.
And you wonder, is this going to set them back for a couple of years? If you miss like this with a young quarterback, look, you're already in the AFC against literally the two teams in the AFC championship game this upcoming weekend. I mean, we're talking about these two being potential like Hall of Fame level talents. So like you've got two guys under 25, I think 26, maybe whatever, who are, just starting to click.
Yeah.
So your just permanent level of competition is at the roof. Like you literally at the ceiling. So you have to piss excellence basically in the AFC to compete with these guys.
Yeah.
And that is where I'm going to look back to this hiring and be like, was this the right move in 3 years?
Especially when you have Patty Mahomes in your division.
That was my point. Was Patrick Mahomes and motherfucking
Derek Carr?
Nope. Who's in the championship game?
Oh, the Bills. Yeah. I was talking about like the division alone, just the 4 teams that they had. Yeah.
You're in the AFC. You got 2 teams at the top, and everybody else you got to figure out.
Yeah. What I was trying to hit at is the Chiefs are in your division, so odds are they're going to get the 1 or 2 seed, and you're going to get the 5 through 7, because there's no way you're going to be on top of them.
Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes for literally the next decade.
Yeah.
You have to find some way to just put together a legit coaching staff here because you got to build towards that.
Yeah. And JD brings up the point of when the Bengals hired Zach Taylor, Bieniemy was their top candidate, but it came out that he was content being the OC for the Chiefs. And it was the same as last year, so I'm guessing it's the same this year. Yet again, we don't know what's going on. I wouldn't be surprised yet again. You're winning with the Chiefs. Why would I want to leave this job for a job that I'm not going to have success in right away? Bengals, obviously, a little bit different than the Chargers that I feel like.
What's your aspirations? You want to be an assistant coach? Is that your jam? You're like, hey, I don't need to deal with the fucking scheduling for hotels and buses.
Yeah.
That ain't my jam. Give me an offensive sheet. I will run this fucking quarterback through his steps, and we will move the ball up and down the field like clockwork.
Yeah, or it could be just I'm not leaving until I get the perfect job kind of a situation.
There is that too.
The other one, Dave, is now that the Saints are out of the playoffs, Brian Campbell is being rumored to becoming the next head coach of the Detroit Lions. Is this going to be good? Is this going to be bad? Is he the right coach? I don't know, but here's what I do know, Dave. Everything I'm hearing sounds very familiar to Matt Patricia. And the reason why I say that is, they want to bring in Campbell because he's a culture guy and he's going to build the culture. He's going to give this team some toughness because he was the coach in 2015 when Philbin was fired after 4 games, after a 1-3 start with the Dolphins. Philbin was fired in 2015. Campbell took over, kind of was a shot in the arm to that Dolphin team that had Lamar Miller on it, Ryan Tannehill on it, Devontae Parker on it. And they finished 5-7 the rest of the way that year, 6-10 overall. To me, I look at this and I go, I get what the Lions might want to do with this, Dave. But yet again, like I said, is this too close to Matt Patricia where it's like, we're going to get a culture guy and then it's not going to work out?
See, the problem with Matt Patricia wasn't so much culture guy, it was that he's an asshole.
Good point.
When there are culture guys who are players' coaches, those guys who want to run through a brick wall for you. Matt Patricia just comes off as an asshole and a hard ass, and his players hate him for it.
Yeah.
So I think there's, Matt Patricia gives off the, I was next to greatness, I coached greatness, and you know what? I can turn your team into a 2. It's a hardworking attitude, yada, yada, yada. But like, if there's no buy-in from those players, it just builds resentment. Like, you just do not like your coach at that point because you're like, we fucking suck, man. I'd get it if you're like, I need the 110%. We are a shit team, and you are still hounding us like we're trying to win a Super Bowl here. Like, I get you, but I just could not give a fuck anymore. And that's what a lot of players seemingly came out with. I'm paraphrasing some things here and taking some liberties, obviously, but that's the general vibe they've been given out of the last month or so. So I think that this is a much better fit. I think that he is a coach who is better with players. I think he's someone who not only is been on great teams, but like you said, he was able to take over a team midway through a season and kind of guide them successfully to something respectful.
Here's the difference, though, and yet again, I don't want Lions fans, and this is if Campbell becomes the coach, because right now nothing's official. Everyone's just seeming, it's like one of those where it's like, oh, this is probably going to happen. We're talking like it's going to happen, but nothing's confirmed. Things are different than it was in 2015 because you have a so first off, you have the decision of what Dan Campbell, do you stay with Stafford or do you go with a young kid? Because Ryan Tannehill was a 27-year-old quarterback at that point. Matthew Stafford is nowhere near 27. He is on the other side of 30.
Over.
You've got Lamar Miller as a running back, 24-year-old Lamar Miller, and then 22-year-old Jay Ajayi behind him. You kind of have that here. Like, Kerryon Johnson's a good running back. Injuries have plagued him. I like DeAndre Swift. They just haven't been able to get anything going with the run game. And last year, even AP, it was kind of like a three-headed monster back there. And then wide receivers, they had Devonta Parker, where this year there are 5 wide receivers for the Lions that are free agents at the end of the year, to where it's like, how many of those guys will be back? And is your pick in the top 10 going to be a wide receiver? So you're either getting a young wide receiver or a young quarterback.
Yeah, they have a lot of decisions, and hopefully he'll be able to have some say on this. Obviously, not the GM of the team, but you know what? It's new crew in there, right? Detroit cleaned house pretty much thoroughly, so I'm hoping that he will have some sort of a say as far as the future of his team's concerned. Again, it is very much a team by team, depending on how much say the coach gets as far as draft picks. But I think with a new coach and a new GM, they might be on the same page, might be able to work together and get this shit sorted straight. So I'm still positive on the hire. I like it. I do wonder what they're going to do with Stafford going into this next season, if he'll be moved to a team like the Colts or not. We will see. I mean, there's a lot of interesting options out there. One of them maybe down to his old team. Maybe just does a swap-a-roo. Gets old Jameis Winston for Matt Stafford.
Winston for Matt Stafford. Yikes.
Obviously, Jameis is not fucking half of what Matt Stafford is, but be interesting to see. I like seeing shit like that go down. I think that Stafford likely will be on the move.
Well, because also the thing that I look into is what's his staff going to look like? Because, yet again, that's a lot of things with a head coach, but with a guy like Dan Campbell, because to me, he is not a guy to where it's like, for example, Brandon Staley, he's going to run the defense at least. A guy like Brian Dabble, he's going to run the offense at least. Dan Campbell is like your Urban Meyer. He's a culture guy. He ain't going to run the offense or the defense in my mind. He was with the Dolphins, was a tight end coach. So like maybe he helps out with the offense, but like in Miami, he didn't really have to do that. They had Lou Amarillo, who is currently with the Bengals as their DC. You have Zach Taylor and Bill Lazor were on the offensive side. Zach Taylor now head coach of the Bengals, and Bill Lazor was with the Bengals. Now he's with the Bears, Dave. So it's like, yet again, you had some guys in there that were like, okay, we're capable guys. It depends on who's going to come in and be this staff with him and get the most out of these sides, because I don't see Campbell being a one side or the other guy. I'm a culture guy, and I'm going to basically delegate my coordinators to kind of do their jobs and hope that they hit on theirs, and I can build the culture I want.
And I will talk to them about that.
Basically, I will talk to them about that, Dave. I didn't like that either. That did not look good out there. I gotta go talk to them. We will get that squared away. Like I said, this is one I wasn't really as passionate as the Staley one. Like, I'm not in favor of this move, but yet again, it's going to be a wait and see to see how it works. But I'm not very optimistic about this coaching hire if I'm the Lions.
I'm not pessimistic. I think hey, I want a non asshole in my fucking head coaching position. Mission accomplished, people.
I love JD. Jesus, I wish they'd take Lou from us. This guy doesn't know how to call a defense. Oh, I fucking love it, Bengal fan. But Dave, let's talk about the games that went on this weekend. We had a doozy of 4 games, not as much as a super wild card weekend, but it was still a great week. First game that kicked it off for us, the Rams finally met the edge saw, the blade saw, which is the Green Bay Packers. Dave, the question I'm going to ask you about this game, because I'm thinking about it already, did this game basically solidify that, yes, the Packers have a really good shot this year of winning the Super Bowl and solidify the Super Bowl pick of the Packers?
I'd say if you took a poll today, the Packers would be the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Patty Mahomes' injury and uncertainty and Tom Brady's Tom Brady-ness, there's a very high chance that the Packers are the favorites for the Super Bowl. They got an offense. They got a defense. They got this guy named Aaron fucking Rodgers out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to make Tom Brady come up to Lambeau. I want to say Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
They got to make Tom Brady come up to Lambeau and play in the fucking cold. So I'm all about this. I think it's set up for the Packers. Mm-hmm. Like, this Rams team wasn't a fucking thing they could do. Like, no. It wasn't a competitive game. So,
I mean, yet again, it kind of seemed like it early on, like, ooh, maybe the Packers offense isn't going to get it going. Like, once the game ended, Dave, I was like, wow, I feel pretty confident in how I saw this game going. Saw the Packers winning by more than a touchdown. I saw basically, I was like, okay, Adams is going to get a touchdown. The only thing I was wrong on is Lazar got the touchdown. I thought it would be Big Bob Tunyon that gets that touchdown for the Packers. This is something where I think next week is a good game for the Packers, but I still like them over the Buccaneers. Which also, did you see on Twitter and stuff today what the big thing that's going on Instagram? And Dak Prescott actually commented on it.
What's that?
The NFL memes account put a picture of Tom, and it said, Tom Brady and the Cowboys, number of NFC championship games since 1997. Tom 1, Cowboys 0. Number of years they've been in the NFC since 1997. Tom Brady 1, Cowboys 24. And Dak commented on it and said, at Ezekiel Elliott, hold my crutches. So looks like Dak's taking it a little personally, Dave.
He should. He fucking should.
Oh, man, if I'm a Cowboy fan, I love that because that's the guy you want as your quarterback, not anyone else. Jerry Jones wants.
If he signs the contract.
That's the thing. If he does, that's what I'm saying. I want him to sign the contract if I'm a Cowboys fan. Also with the Rams, I guess the big story is this offseason there's going to be the Goff and McVay are going to have to get to the Kumbaya circle, Dave, because there's a little rift between those two, and people are now wondering about the future of the Rams because of it.
What a hilarious draft that was. Jared Goff,
Carson Wentz,
quarterback on the Eagles. Yeah, I'd say a certain quarterback on the Eagles who is been halfway pushed out of town. Both of these guys were just can't miss talents, uber guys. You know, obviously Goff was the polished guy. God, I did it again. I got nope. Don't go full Todd.
Todd.
He's a polished one. He's got clear, clean, concise throwing motions. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz over there, big arm, big, strong, throwing power. Love to see what he does. Hits those fucking over-the-shoulder throws. Both of them suck. Those are two awful contracts for two guys who have fallen off the fucking wagon. Like, it is for me, it's just shocking. It's funny. I can laugh at it because I didn't like either one of these guys. And both of them had such early success in their career. And it was like, man, these guys look like breakout stars. Everything's going to hit perfect for them their whole career. And now it's just like, both these guys fucking suck. Like, obviously, Wentz had no offensive line, no wide receivers. Goff has had some injuries he's struggled with. There are circumstances around their situations that definitely lead to their lack of success. But still, it's just kind of, I have fun with it.
I'm also going to be honest. I'm looking at that draft. I don't know if so. Cleveland and Tennessee were 1-2. Tennessee obviously didn't need a quarterback. They just had taken Marcus Mariota the year before, I believe. Cleveland, I know Sean and I did a video on when that draft taken. but I was like, I don't know why they didn't take a quarterback. But the guys they got
Johnny Manziel or some shit the year before.
You're right. Probably. I think they did have Johnny I think they did have Johnny Manziel at that point. But basically, I'm looking at the guys that those two teams got. Jack Conklin for the Titans. I guess that's a win. You got an offensive lineman.
Very good.
And then Corey Coleman for the Browns, who is no longer on the team, I believe. He got cut from the Browns on Hard Knocks.
You are correct. He is an asshole.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the Titans hit. The Browns didn't. And it looks like Eagles and Rams did not, because I guess the whole reason why they need to go to the Kumbaya circle, Dave, is McVay's just upset that, hey, I signed off on you getting this contract because I thought you were fucking good, motherfucker, and now you're bad. What do you do? It's like the Scooby-Doo thing. Like, you pull the mask, like, Jared Goff, you've been bad quarterback all along. Like, just name one. Tim Couch. Mitch Trubisky. You've been Mitch Trubisky all along. The next game, Dave, that capped off our Saturday, this was a fun one because I was scared for a moment. I thought that the Ravens were going to get it going at some point. Close game against the Bills, but hey, Bills
that
offense.
Third quarter was night and day after halftime.
Yeah,
that's when you know who made the adjustments. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the key. That's all good coaching right there.
I mean, a Lamar Jackson injury also didn't help.
Well, that's not gonna. Yeah. But I mean, like Lamar Jackson's injury is not gonna hurt the fucking Bills offense, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, Lamar Jackson entered the concussion protocol, did not come back in that game. Basically, for me, it's like the Ravens are a team where it's like, okay, Lamar, you got over the hump. You won a playoff game. Now let's see next year if you can build on it and beat a good team like the Buffalo Bills. Because to get to the Super Bowl, you're going to have to beat those teams. Dave, I know I picked the Bills to go to the Super Bowl, but I am saying I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared after this game. The only reason why is the last two games have been closer than I thought for the Buffalo Bills. I know playoff football is going to be closer than the regular season, but 27 points against the Colts, 17 points against Baltimore is, in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to pick the Bills when we get to Friday. But is there a chance? Yet again, Patrick Mahomes, we'll talk about his health, see if he's even cleared to play this week, as he entered the concussion protocol in his game.
Did he?
He did at the end. Yeah, he went off to the locker room and then...
was he officially entered into the concussion protocol? I
will look it up officially. I know he went to the locker room to enter that protocol during the game.
Tests. I heard he had passed his tests. Mm-hmm. I did not hear if he was actually officially registered in the concussion protocol. Because that does have some stipulations around it.
Yeah. But with the Bills, should Bills fans be a little nervous now that they're going up against the team in the KC Chiefs?
Well, yeah. I mean, duh. It's the best fucking team in the league for the last year. Like, literally 30 games straight, the Kansas City Chiefs have been the best team in the NFL. Like, they're just insanely talented. Their offense is disgusting. Their defense can get at it at the right time. We saw Tyrann Mathieu go out and get some for himself on Sunday. So, like, yes, that Cleveland game was closer than a lot of people thought. But then for everybody else who's been paying attention to the Chiefs the entire fucking year, went, yeah, that's exactly how we thought it was going to end. Like, it was going to be a close game. It was, no one knew that, obviously, Mahomes would not be in the game to end the game, but it was the idea that this game will not be a blowout by any means, because this is our Kansas City Chiefs team of the year. We will win when it counts. And the Browns team this year has always been, we will fight to the fucking death. So I was happy to see one of those teams hold true. Meanwhile, the Browns being fucking cowards on fourth down and punting.
Yes.
Will not tolerate weakness in this dojo.
Here's the thing. And before I get in on that, I did find the answer to our question. This was from ESPN earlier today. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes is in the NFL's concussion protocol, and that's really all we can say about his status 6 days before the AFC Championship game. We don't know how long he will be sidelined. We don't know if he'll be able to play on Sunday. We don't know for sure if he suffered a concussion. What we do know is that brain health is one of the major storylines of the NFL's divisional playoff round. Mahomes was removed from the Chiefs' victory on Sunday after a hit at the end of a run left him staggering. A day earlier, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson was ruled out from a loss after he slammed his head on the ground. So really, we don't know. Technically, he didn't fucking have a concussion.
On McAfee's show, there was a tweet from one of the radio guys from Kansas City who said it was like a nerve in his neck.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't actually a concussion, but again, that was not a rumor, nothing confirmed. So, Kansas City 610 Sports announced that it was a neck issue with a nerve that got tweaked. Discussion, team docs. It's a no-brainer from our standpoint, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God, stop playing ads. I hate you.
So point is, he's going to most likely clear this. If it's something in his neck with a nerve, he'll most likely clear the protocol and be good for Sunday. That's basically what I'm thinking. Yeah. So this is just
all the tests for the concussion protocol. So.
Yeah. So this is just the NFL being extra safe with it because of the stigmatism that has gone with concussions. But yeah, next week is going to be a great game between the Chiefs and the Bills. But like we'll go full into Chiefs Browns because you even threw it out. Here's the thing on that fourth down you were talking about, Dave, and I'll ask you if this is still the cowardness level of it. Many people are thinking of like, oh, if Patrick Mahomes was still out there, Stefanski would have went for it on that fourth down. Instead, it was one of those, well, I don't think too highly of Chad Henne. I'm going to punt the ball. Most likely I'm going to get it back kind of a thing. And even there have been some that goes, yeah, Chad Henne's out there, but Stefanski knows he's going up against Andy Reid, right? Who likes to call some interesting things. And yet again, it's more the coach than the player. Is that still weakness, or is that just like, wow, you made a bonehead decision when you should have just trusted your gut?
No, I mean, I think it's a bonehead decision. I think that the whole situation is your team is down. It's the fourth quarter. The Chiefs have 2 timeouts. You cannot expect to stop them, get the ball back, and score again in the time remaining. You have to go for the win.
Mm-hmm.
And disappointed. I mean, that's all I can say at the end of the day. I was disappointed watching that. The play calling there was awful down the line.
Dude, they did a, what was it? It was like a out route. It was kind of like, I think it's like zone out route and a shotgun. And it's like, I'm looking at that play and I'm going, why? You guys usually don't run that play. Like, that's not something that you do. It didn't look like the same Browns team that we saw a week ago, or 2 weeks ago per matter for the Steelers. And then Dave, the very last game, the NFC one, Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the New Orleans Saints. Although everyone is expecting this to be the case, Dave, there's been no official announcement. I know Jay Glazer, guy Brandon really likes on Fox Sports, reported before the game that it is true. However, Drew Brees has said nothing of it. Has Drew Brees played his last game, Dave, in your mind 100%. For the Saints?
100%. It's over. It's done. He's got a noodle arm. He's done.
Dude, like we were talking during the game, and it's like, it's bad when your coach doesn't, or I'm not going to say doesn't believe in you, but knows you have such a noodle arm that it's like, hey, we're going to run this play that the Bears did last week. By the way, genius. Taking a play from another playbook and then implementing it into your team in a week's time. Fucking genius, Sean Payton. But hey, we're gonna pull out Drew Brees because I know Jameis Winston can make that throw better than you can.
Remember we had who was it? There was a certified Hail Mary thrower for Andrew Luck when he had a case of the noodle arm going too.
Good point.
So, it's not unheard of, but and Drew Brees was done. And I mean, look, not everybody ends their career like Elway. It's sad. You're going to lose, and there was nothing you could do about it. And it's funny because it's the most uncharacteristic Drew Brees way to go out with 3 interceptions, a pick 6. Like, it didn't look like Drew anymore. And I think that's a sad thing at the end of his career.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's one of those where you look at the overall career. I remember seeing him on the Chargers early in our lifetime. And then it was like, oh, the Chargers are going to get rid of him. And we're like, oh, it's because of the injury with his neck. And I remember when the Saints picked him up, like, even though as a kid, it's like, shit, is this a smart, like, even as a kid, you go, is this a smart move? Like, they're taking a risk on him, and then look at the career that he has with the Saints and wins a Super Bowl 3 years later.
Literally the 3rd best passing quarterback we've ever seen in the existence of football. Yeah. A guy who was available to 29 other teams out there at the time, and just nobody else was really.
Yeah. And then
probably a couple of spots where he wouldn't land, obviously. But like at the time it happened, it was just like, I know your Minnesota Vikings were looking, and you chose rollout.
Yeah. I didn't mind Dante Culpepper, though. I liked Culpepper.
Get it going, Ricky. Gotta get going.
Gotta roll out with Dante Culpepper. Gotta get the punch in there, too. But yeah, like we said, now it's Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And now we get to ask the storylines going into that game are phenomenal. First off, Tom Brady, new team. He's coming in to take the NFC by storm. Can he go? Like, if Tom Brady gets to the Super Bowl,
Storm.
Yeah, the Storm.
Okay. One team in the NFC still knows who the fuck it is.
Yeah. If he even gets to the Super Bowl, Dave, for sure locks down the GOAT argument. I'm saying if. I agree with you. I don't think he will either. No. But if there's any question from anybody, like, the cliff is no longer here. Like, he could get to the Super Bowl with anybody. At this point, we should just have him then on different teams to see if he can get to the playoffs with every single team in the NFL. He doesn't have that many years left in him, though. Don't tell Tom Brady that because he thinks he does.
41?
What?
42, 41, how old's Tom?
Tom Brady is, let's see, because I know he wants to play till 50, right, Dave? That's still the thing?
Shit like that, yeah.
Tom Brady is 43.
43?
He just turned 43 in August. So, yeah, cool. I don't think he's got, 30 more years left in him at quarterback? Because that's how many teams he'd have to play for, because he only played for 2.
But he has to go it already, and it's wonderful. And, yes, he won his game. No, he will not be able to beat the Packers led by Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, your story ends here. He probably will be back next year unless he goes out with an injury here.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, Mad Rogue's right. Fucking the offense is stacked with Evans, Gronk, Godwin, Brown, Fournette in the backfield, fucking even Rojo in the backfield. But either quarterback wins this game, it's a fucking story, Dave, because Tom Brady gets there or Aaron Rodgers fighting adversity. The team wants you out, Dave. And you say, no, not now. That quarterback, that was a wasted fucking pick because I'm here to stay. I'm going to the Super Bowl. But, Dave, that does it for our portion of MVP Sports Live. Dave, it was a great job having you here today. But we've got to call in the lefty. He's not waiting in there, Dave.
I went to go grab him. I literally just went to my mouse. I was like, let's go. Nope. And you got additional news coming, too.
We do. So I've got a DM from him. He did say should be good to go around 7. Jakey Poo. It's around that time. It's around that time, 3 minutes before. So we'll be killing some time here. Yes, additional news with the MLB stuff going on.
Yeah, Musgrave trade.
Yeah. Also, on Twitter, I'll throw this out. This is non-sports news, Dave.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear the latest person that Donald Trump is going to be pardoning?
Oh.
Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne getting a pardon from President Trump.
With Trump?
I think so. TMZ. It's all over my trending tab right now. Is fucking Lil Wayne getting a pardon. TMZ reporting that one, Dave. So we'll give Jake a little bit, see if he pops in here or not. Otherwise, we'll just end the show and have him on tomorrow. Come on, Jake.
I pinged him.
Okay.
I can't text him. I don't know Jake's number.
No, I don't have his number either. There he is. Let's look at who it is. Look at who decided to show up.
Welcome to the show, Jake.
Hello?
Hello.
Enjoy talking the baseballs.
Oh, I appreciate it.
All of the baseballs.
Good luck, bros. I will catch y'all in the watch along.
Bye, Dave. How you doing, Jake? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing pretty good. I'm doing great, Pretty relaxing day. I'll tell everyone a story really quick.
All right.
Before we get into the baseball. So today I was feeling ballsy on MLK Day, and I'm like, I'm going to have a 7-team parlay going on today for the basketball world. It lost in its first game. Do you want to know how it lost?
How did it lose in its first game?
DeMar DeRozan over 20.5 points. He needed 21. He finished with 20.
That's
they
upsetting.
pulled him with 2 minutes left because they were up 20 in that game. I was like, cowards! You go for the win. Suffocate them, you cowards.
Push it down.
So reactionary Ricky, and probably not the best thing. The other 6 that I had, I quickly put them in a parlay for less money than I put the first one on. Because I'm like, I still need to try to win, Jake. It's just the itch to win. But we've got some baseball news, Jake, to discuss. Your team, the New York Yankees, making moves. They get DJ LeMahieu. The deal, I have the exacts right here. If I open up my rundown sheet, I want to say it's a $90 million deal for DJ LeMahieu. And they also get Corey Kluber as well. Jake, the question is easy. We'll talk about the Yankees first. What does this mean for the Yankees? And now does this put an answer to that question that we talked about when the White Sox had their news of, no, the Yankees are now to be looked at as the best team in the AL?
Yeah, I think the Yankees are I still think they need another pitcher. I think Kluber is a very good addition. He's definitely a low risk, high reward on a 1-year deal. He took less money with the Yankees to try to have a chance to win, which I appreciate a lot. And
when you're the Yankees, you can do that with guys. Hey, want to try to win? Want to try to win with us? We'll give you a championship.
Exactly. I think getting Domingo Germán back this year, getting Severino back in the middle of the year, seeing what he is. I mean,
I forgot about Severino. He was injured.
Yeah, I don't want to say blatantly this is the team that should win the AL. But if Severino or Kluber come back and actually hit this team, I mean, they just need that number 2 with Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is obviously the solidified number 1. If Kluber or Severino can be that, they have so many different options. And obviously I said Germán and Montgomery and Garcia and Schmidt. They have so many different starters that they can throw out that if they can actually stay healthy this year in the bullpen, they're going to be a very hard team to beat. I still think adding another starter and another reliever would be very good. But at where they're at right now, I'm glad they actually went out and signed some pitching.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me, not being a Yankees fan, is to me, it's bigger that you kept LeMahieu on this team, mainly because all the rumors I was seeing is that there was a good chance that DJ LeMahieu was going to be a Toronto Blue Jay if he was not signed by the Yankees. So, that's one thing, because to me, I feel like with this entire, both of these news is how it affects the AL is basically, now let's see if Toronto can basically deliver on any of the free agents it has. I know George Springer we've talked about. There's another name that's mistaken me. There's a non-pitcher candidate that they're high on, right? The Blue Jays? Or am I just thinking DJ LeMahieu?
I probably was just DJ. The only one I've ever heard is Springer, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah. JD says they're easily the best team in the AL East. Don't remind me. Yeah. That's the big thing to me. The Toronto Blue Jays are probably the only team to where it's if they can hit on those free agents that they have targeted, maybe they can give the Yankees a run for their money. Because the thing for me with the Yankees is not about what they do in the regular season. They will be fine in the regular season, barring any catastrophic injury that may happen. To me, it's what happens when they get to the playoffs, because the past few years you've had the series against the Astros. I know the Astros were cheating during that time, so take that with a grain of salt. Last year, they ran into the hottest team in baseball in the playoffs, who went to the World Series from the AL. In Tampa Bay, who they took to 5 games in that second round series, that divisional series in the AL. To me, that's the question. If Kluber can get back to form, like you said, if they can add another pitcher, they bring Judge back, they avoid arbitration with him. So they signed him to, I think, a $10 million deal for this year. We'll see if anything long-term happens. It should, because they should keep him down as long as they should. To me, it's right now it's a 2-dog race in the AL, possibly a 3 with the possible, hey, there's a shocking team. And it comes down to the Yankees, the White Sox, and then Toronto if they make their moves. But with the Yankees, can they run into someone in the AL and get through that playoffs and not have that heartbreaking loss that they've had the last couple of years?
Yeah, you're talking about one of Jake's teams making it to the playoffs and having heartbreaking losses. Oh man,
maybe they just need to lose you as a fan. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe, honestly, all my teams just can make it to the playoffs and heartbreaking losses.
Jake's the problem.
Toronto came in and they offered DJ 4 years, $78 million, and then apparently the Dodgers did too.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees took him for more years, less AAV. I mean, the Yankees got last 2 years a top 3 MVP candidate for $15 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know paying him towards the end of that contract, he's going to be old, but DJ's game is pretty good because it's going to age well, is what I mean. Because he's not a strong power hitter. He hits to all fields. He's a great fielder. He doesn't really. It sounds bad. He doesn't really use his athleticism to be how good of a hitter he is. He's just.
But he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, Jake.
Okay. No, that's no wrong. But talking about the AL, I kind of mentioned this last time. The Rays are always going to be there. The Rays are just one of those franchises now that they just seem to always be a pain in the ass. Like they lose Charlie Morton, they lose Blake Snell. You're like, oh, they're finally going to be bad, and then they're going to have some other 2 pitchers come up from AAA that throw 99 and have sub-3 ERAs this upcoming year. And the Astros are the Astros. The Astros, they might have cheated and all that. They're still a very good team. They still have, I believe, Justin Verlander will be back this year. You still have Altuve, you still have Bregman, you still have Correa, you still have Jordan. They're still going to be a great team. The Yankees, it's like you said, every year they get to the postseason, and it's funny because we want to sit here and blame the pitching, but then when the big games come up, it's the bats that are the problems. I've talked about this with the Yankees a lot, is that while they have so many great hitters, they have a bunch of high percentage strikeout hitters and low percentage walk hitters. And that was why keeping DJ wasn't such another big thing, because he is one of the rare guys who has a low K rate and more of a high contact rate in the lineup when you compare him to somebody like Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, all those kind of guys. And then you have seen the Yankees, they're still all aggressive. They was reported they were in talks with the Reds for Luis Castillo, but that is dead because the Reds asked for Gleyber Torres, and we're not the Cubs. We're not giving him up. Sorry.
Oh, he died for our World Series sins. Amen.
Good Lord.
That's all I think of with Gleyber Torres. But like, and just to throw it out there because JD said it, JT Realmuto is the other one that I was thinking about.
Okay.
Realmuto, Springer, and now I forgot his name. DJ is the one that they were going after, and it's just like, that's the thing, because the Astros, the Rays, and then in 2018 it was the Red Sox that beat the Yankees 3-1. To where the thing with baseball too is it's a very like, when are you going to get hot, when are you going to get cold kind of a thing.
Yep. Where
we see teams in the early months just catch fire, and maybe that's enough to keep them in the playoff hunt and keep them in the playoffs. But then it's like, wow, we're cold in the playoffs. There's no way we're going to hit the broadside of a barn. And they end up getting swept or losing in 4 games to who they have, or they just escape and lose in the next round. To me, it's like, that's the Yankees. Like, they need to get over the second round curse is what I'm calling it. Because in the last 4 years, the only time they've won 2 series is 2017. That was when they were wild cards. Of course, that wild card game, I'm not even going to fucking count, because whenever the Yankees play the Twins lose. It's just a matter of science at this point. So, like, you beat the Indians, lose to the Astros. You beat the Athletics, you lose to the Red Sox. You beat the Twins, you lose to the Astros. You beat the Indians, you lose to the Rays. Like, this team needs to stay hot longer. And then the second question is, if you do stay hot and you make a World Series, how confident are you that this team can match up to an LA, to a San Diego, who are easily the 2 favorites in my mind in the NL side of the league, to where it's like, oh, if you match up against one of those 2, how confident are you right now in the Yankees, or do they for sure have to make one of the moves that you were talking about?
Yeah, see, okay. The Dodgers are they're very good at baseball. They have a lot of very, very good. They have 2 of the top 3 players in the entire league in their lineup. I mean, like I think I said this last time I was on. The Dodgers are just the most well-run franchise in the league, and you could be like, oh, they spend all this money. I'm like, yeah, but how many bad deals do the Dodgers have? How many times do they spend money on a guy and it doesn't work? It rarely happens. I mean, they went out and they were like, okay, we're going to get Mookie Betts. Oh, and the next day we're going to sign him to an 11-year deal. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, there goes any hope we had. It's just, the Yankees still need. It doesn't even matter that they need one guy. They need somebody to step up. The Rays last year had what the hell was his a Rosarena. They had a Rosarena who just came out and played the best player in the entire postseason last year. He played absolutely out of his mind. It's guys like Stanton. It's guys like Gary Sanchez who are supposed to be cornerstones in this franchise and have to step up instead of players like Gio Urshela and even DJ LeMahieu having to carry the team every single year and Aaron Hicks having to come up with clutch home runs. Judge is great. That's not. I'm not really worried about Judge. I'm more worried about like Gary Sanchez is my main worry with this team. He is literally a black hole of offense, like we call Terrence Ross in the NBA. We call him the black hole of offense and defense, honestly, in the MLB. Gary Sanchez is just not good at baseball, but he hits home runs every now and then. So hey, we like him. It's just
the only reason why I use him in MLB The Show for my team because he can hit dangers.
You're dangers. It's just finding some type of consistency in this lineup and still going out and still going. Andrelton Simmons is still out there, one of the best, if not the best, defensive shortstops in the league. Do you go out and get a guy like that helps your lineup and gives you a little bit of flexibility instead of being like, we have to have DJ at second and we have to have Gleyber at short. If one of them gets hurt, we're screwed because Tyler Wade has to go play, and Tyler Wade's not good at baseball. So it's more adding to those kind of moves and having some type of lineup flexibility instead of just being like, we have one guy at every position, we have one platoon guy, and if one of those guys gets hurt, we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, and last thing I'm going to ask you about is not about the Yankees. This is about news that just happened. I don't even have a card for it, but I want to get your thoughts on this, Jake. Basically, there was a 3-team trade. San Diego Padres are not done. They are adding San Diego native Joe Musgrove to this team. Just a little graphic I have here from MLB Network. Here's the rotation options for the Padres now in 2021. So you have Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Danielson Lamet, Joe Musgrove, Chris Paddock, Mackenzie Gore, Joey Lucchesi, Adrian Morjan, and then Ryan Weathers. Oh, by the way, Mike Clevenger will miss this year because of Tommy John surgery. Those are all the options for this team. They are just, to me, going for the throat of like, you know what wins in the playoffs? Fucking pitching. We're going to make sure you can't hit the ball and just Tatis Jr. can hit a dinger and we win.
Yeah, well, Lucchesi, I would say he actually is going to the Mets in that deal, which is pretty ironic because the Mets make another move. I mean, Musgrove was a guy I wanted the Yankees to go out and get. He's in this. He's in the 70+ percentile for basically every single pitching statistic. He's not a great starter. He's not a bad starter. He's just somebody who's going to eat innings for them. And another guy that if somebody goes down, you can be like, all right, doesn't matter. We have depth. We can go get another. They have like 9 pitchers. Yeah. Like this team is just. Props to the San Diego because they still haven't traded any of their top 5 prospects, which is just. I mean,
they came close in this deal. It was so the Pirates got the Padres 7th ranked prospect Hudson Head, who is an outfielder, left-hander Omar Cruz, who's their 17th prospect, and then right-hander Drake Fellows, who is not listed. And they also got catcher outfielder Eddie Rodriguez, who was the Mets' 14th prospect.
Yeah, I mean, they're just the Padres continue, like we said last time, to do great business, and that's, I mean, that's what they do. The NL is going to be the NL West is going to be so much fun this year with the Dodgers and the Padres going at it the entire year. It's just, I mean, it's good for baseball that somebody's trying to challenge the Dodgers, and I still don't think it's enough because I still think the Dodgers are just insane.
Well, like somebody had to because for the longest time, like ever since I want to say 2015, you had the Cubs in 2014. That was when we made our surprising run and got to play the Mets in the NLCS. Pretty much ever since then, it was basically like, oh, okay, Cubs Dodgers in the NLCS to see who goes to the World Series. And the Cubs, after getting rid of Madden, now it's seeming like, yeah, I know we avoided arbitration with Chris Bryant and Javi Baez, but it's like, is Chris Bryant even going to be on this team much longer with all the trade rumors circling the Cubs? Like, somebody needs to take that spot and needs to basically be the new rival for the Dodgers. And I absolutely love, like you, the Padres making those runs of like, hey, you know what? We've got a good team. We've got Tatis Jr. We've got Hosmer on this team. We can go ahead and make a run, just basically solidify our pitching, getting Snell, getting Darvish, now getting Musgrove, in order to make sure they can even be a threat in the playoffs. I'm trying to load Musgrove's spot rack to see how many years he's had left, because I don't know exactly, Jake. Oh, 1 year? So is this a Aroldis Chapman situation where it's like, hey, we're going to give up these prospects even if Musgrove leaves at the end? I mean, maybe not exactly Aroldis, because they'll still have you, Snell, and then Clevenger. This might be a move of like, hey, Clevenger's not here this year. We need a guy to take that spot anyways. Let's take Musgrove, and if he leaves, he leaves.
Yeah, I'm not. I think he has 1 more year of arbitration, so he still has. They'll be able to bring him back next year.
Okay.
I just they're already talking. They're going to sign Tatis to a 10-year extension.
Yeah,
naturally. To go through all of his. Yeah, to go through all of it. But they actually have money to spend. They're pretty well under the luxury tax for the most part. Because Hugh Darvish will only be there for a year or two. Blake Snell will most likely be there long term. Clevenger will be there long term. I mean, it's wild. They could still go out and sign Trevor Bauer if they want to. This team is so good, and Fernando Tatis is my favorite player in the entire league. If you love baseball, you love Fernando Tatis. He is he's everything you want in a baseball player.
Him and Tim Anderson make the sport fun.
Yeah, and it's ironic that the White Sox traded Fernando Tatis for James Shields. Hey,
big game James, baby, big game James.
Yeah, I mean the Padres. Like I said, the Padres have a pretty good amount of flexibility under the 210 hard cap, luxury cap. So I mean, yeah, this could be just a 2-year move for Musgrove. But again, they didn't give up a lot to get him. So even if it is only a 2-year deal, it's whatever.
Yeah, the one team though I can't think. How do I phrase this? I can't help but think about. That's how I'm gonna phrase it. Is the Atlanta Braves though, because like they're a team that I know a lot of Atlanta Brave fans are like, I don't care what moves the Padres made. We are the second best team to go ahead and battle the Dodgers for the years to come. But if I'm Braves fans, I'm a little nervous because they might be the third team now. If I had to rank like odds to make the NLCS, it'd be Dodgers, Padres, and then Braves. Where before all these moves, it was Braves above the Padres by a long shot. And in the AL, it's probably, Yankees, White Sox,
Rays, Astros, then Blue Jays. Are Blue Jays in the top 5 in that category? Or does it depend? It depends what happens the rest of the offseason because, again, I mean, they haventen added anything. They just kind of stayed stagnant, which, I mean, they've definitely gone out and tried. It's just they have a very good young core. I hope for our sake they do this, but I hope they don't go out and spend recklessly and be like, we have to compete now, we have to do this now. You have such a good young core that even if you don't hit, George Springer would be a great addition for them. I think that sounds like the most realistic option if they are offering him that deal. I think Realmuto might actually end up back with the Phillies. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I think I think they're third in the AL East still behind the Rays and the Yankees.
Yeah, and like yet again, if they lose out on Springer, then if I'm them, I wouldn't even go hardcore into JT. You know what I'm saying? Where it was like, if I get Springer, then it's like, okay, if we have to up the money a little bit for JT, let's go ahead and do it. But if you lose out on George Springer, it's like, why am I going to go aggressive on JT Realmuto? He doesn't really move the needle in a huge way to me. It's both of them. That would move that needle. Jake, any final thoughts on anything baseball before we wrap up the show?
I'm happy that the Yankees took till January 16th to fucking do something. But Brian Cashman woke up feeling dangerous that day is all I know.
They wanted to get you really happy before the Saints lost.
Yeah, okay, next question.
I'll ask you. Same thing I asked Dave. Is Drew Brees done for sure?
Yep, I'll be in Canton in 5 years when he's the first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay. Thanks for the memories, Drew.
Okay, so you're going to be at that presentation? Barring no COVID?
I will be there. I will be there, COVID or not. I'll be there for my dude.
Barring no COVID, that I hope COVID doesn't last another 5 years.
Hopefully not.
That would be awful. But that's going to do it for the show today. Thank you guys for being as great as you are and checking it out. Remember, join the Discord if you're not in it already. Best community on the internet. Link down below in the description or exclamation point, if I can speak English, into Twitch chat. Gets the exclamation point Discord. Gets it into Twitch chat for you. Patreon.com/MVPvids is how you can support us. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch, where we are live every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. Want to thank you guys for being so great. Thanks, Jake, for coming on, talking baseball, filling in the baseball hole that we had, because Dave doing a great job today. Thanks to Dave for everything that he does. We will be back tomorrow, and as always, have a good day, everybody.